Good evening. Thank God it's Friday because that means it's NTV Weekend Edition. Time to kick back, relax and see us move the story forward. But first, let's take a look at the global situation as far as the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. As far as the global numbers are concerned, we have 5,971,539 cases confirmed globally. The deaths stand at 364,358, and those who recovered stand at 2,630,663. In terms of Africa, a total of 133,229 cases have been confirmed so far. The deaths stand at 3,871, and those who recovered stand at 55,676. As for the situation in the US of A, we have 1,778,042 confirmed cases, 103,823 of those have resulted in fatalities, and those who recovered in the US stand at 502,116. Now, those are the global numbers. After the highlights, we'll bring you the numbers as far as Kenya is concerned.
Tonight, 4 more people succumb to COVID-19 as 127 others test positive.
There are individuals who are using unofficial routes, these are panya routes, to get in and out of restricted areas.
After dismissal, COVID-19 makes an entry into Burundi State House. Questions as First Lady Denise Nkurunziza flown into Kenya for treatment. Plus, prepare to stay home longer with your children.
Which will be the comfortable number of deaths that we want to be responsible for? And the answer is 0.
Also tonight, he was COVID-19 positive and went through a tumultuous time.
My body suffered very badly. My organs failed, my liver, my lungs, my kidneys, all failed. And the doctors had to work really hard to keep me alive.
The bishop got saved and shares his testimony. And on Bullseye,
bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Consequences of calling a crocodile big mouth before crossing the river.
Sisi tunamfuata William Ruto. It's very challenging, my brothers.
The then, now and the uncertain future.
You are not looking for friendship, you are looking for interests.
And the rocky road to happiness.
This is Weekend Edition with Olive Burrows.
Joining us this evening as our sign language interpreter is Flora at Yeno. As promised, let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers as far as the country is concerned. The number of new infections stands at 127. That brings the number of total infections to 1,745. Those who recovered today stand at 17. That brings the number of total recoveries to 438. New deaths stand at 4, all from Mombasa, bringing the total deaths since the COVID-19 virus entered Kenya's borders to 62. In terms of counties, the new number of cases in Nairobi County stand at 76. The new number of cases in Mombasa, or rather persons infected, stands at 19. The number of those infected newly in Busia stands at 16. Uasin Gishu 8, Kajiado 5, Isiolo 1. As for the new patients in Nairobi, this is how they're distributed. We have 49 cases in Kibra, 13 cases in Ruaraka, 4 in Makadara, 4 in Westlands, 2 in Langata, and 1 in Embakasi West, Kasarani, Dagoretti North, and Starehe each. In as far as Mombasa is concerned, the new cases, 7 of them are in Kisauni, 6 of them in Mvita, 3 in Nyali, 2 in Likoni, and 1 in Jomvu. And as far as Kenya's borders are concerned, we have 2 new cases at the Malaba border and 3 new cases at the Namanga border point. Burundi's government has been on the receiving end of criticism over its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, as it has downplayed the disease and the risks involved. Now, the reality has hit home literally for the outgoing president, Pierre Nkurunziza. His wife, Denise, has been confirmed to be COVID-19 positive. She was flown into Kenya and is currently admitted at a hospital in Nairobi. How did she get into a country with closed borders? Helen Ower reports that while the government appears to have reverted to some sort of normalcy, it is calling on Kenyans not to live life as usual.
The air is filled with energy of political charge. The just concluded elections in Burundi have been grounds for the government to show its stand on the pandemic, as well as rally its citizens towards its belief. Burundi is one of the African states that has been reported as having not taken effective measures to combat the spread of the coronavirus. But it seems the pandemic has shown its unbiased face as it has made its way into Burundi's State House. Outgoing First Lady Denise Nkurunziza and 3 of her bodyguards tested positive for COVID-19. Ms. Nkurunziza was airlifted into Kenya for treatment under the cover of darkness Thursday night. This points to some questionable dealings in the government as Kenya closed its borders and airspace in seeking to curb the spread of the disease. And therefore, under what arrangement was the Burundian First Lady granted access into the country? Questions have been asked if such treatment would be accorded to non-dignitaries, even as some Kenyans are unable to come home. The Ministry of Health has, however, sought to distance itself from the matter.
And this issue is an issue that touches on foreign affairs, and a comprehensive statement will be issued in due course regarding whether we will be here right now and confirm for you yes or no, whether this is the situation. However, Foreign Affairs will be able to give you a statement on this.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has yet to pronounce itself on this matter. As these concerns remain at the top of many minds, the concerns about the local transmissions are still very alive, more so as Kenyans appear to be returning to normalcy.
I've also observed a worrisome trend. There are individuals who are using unofficial routes, these are panya routes, to get in and out of restricted areas. And we would like to remind such people that Nairobi and Mombasa are currently the counties that have the highest number of infections, and therefore sneaking out of these areas is equivalent to sneaking the virus into other counties.
The government has also put in place self-isolation measures as a means to help combat the spread of the disease.
Patients who are in isolation at home, either because of age or because they are breastfeeding mothers and small children, or they are pregnant women who may not be well managed in a health facility and are asymptomatic.
Helen Ower, NTV.
Prepare to stay home with your children much longer, as schools will only reopen when Kenya has contained the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is according to the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, who holds that lives are too precious to gamble with. NTV's education reporter, Sharon Baranga, reports on some of the pronouncements made during the handover of a report from the Education Response Committee on COVID-19.
Schools have become empty spaces. Their ordinary occupants have been away on account of the government's directive in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. As various institutions seek to adapt, the current state of affairs of work and learn from home is likely to last longer.
Everything else that we are going to do will be determined by the epidemiology of this disease, which means by the way that the disease will be behaving.
Some countries have begun to open up their schools, raising questions over when Kenya will also do the same.
So the question that we ask ourselves is, which will be the comfortable number of deaths that we want to be responsible for? And the answer is 0.
The CS says government is currently faced with a myriad of challenges, even as it tries to reorganize the school calendar.
Our second goal is to ensure that when we open schools, every child from Ukuru Kayaba to Muthaiga must have the same facilities. We should not be thinking about examinations alone. The issue of transition and the mega issue of CBC, which is competency-based curriculum,
While the situation's stay is indefinite, learners and their parents have been urged to exercise patience and focus on the bigger picture.
Child who is alive and well at home is better than one who attempted to do the exam and died there. If it means that they have to come back to school early in the year, to start the year all over again, so be it.
However, parents with children in private schools have been urged to cooperate with the institution's administrations for the benefit of their children.
All this noise of saying, oh, you know, they are charging this, they are charging that, go and negotiate with them. When you decided to take your child there, nobody told you to take your child there.
The Education CS was receiving a report from the Education Response Committee on COVID-19, established to advise the government on the modalities of reopening schools. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Some people are of the view that COVID-19 is not real. There are many controversy theories that are being put out. But for Bishop Timothy Wambunya, his is a real first-hand experience. His travel to the United Kingdom saw him come back to Kenya and end up in the intensive care unit, battling for his life, peeping into the grave. But he ended up recovering. He lets us in on his sobering experience with COVID-19 and the troubles he endured from the time he jetted back into the country.
We find Bishop Timothy Wambunya outside his house. The lead cleric in the Anglican Church of Kenya's Butere Archdiocese is out enjoying the fresh air, where he does his breathing exercises to help increase his lung capacity. His family is wary of indoor interactions, for good reason. We therefore set up the interview outside, and he narrated his coronavirus journey to us.
2 months ago, I had traveled to the UK to support my son who was finishing his final exams. And then we traveled back to Kenya and arrived the day that the quarantine was introduced.
This was the mayhem that greeted Bishop Wambunya when he arrived back into the country. He says getting placed into a quarantine center was a process, a frustrating one at that.
When we were sent off from the airport to the first hotel of quarantine, they refused to accept us. Then we were taken to Nairobi University in Kibete. They refused to accept us. They took us to the government training college in Kibete as well. They refused to accept us. Eventually, some of us ended up at KMTC, and we ended up at Korat. And the center was a good center, enough space, so we were able to do our social distancing, and they looked after us very well.
After finally getting settled, he and his son spent 14 days at the center. At the lapse of their stay, Bishop Wambunya suffered a fever like none he had ever had before.
From the UK, I came back with my son, but he wasn't affected, surprisingly, and he's still fine to this point. But it hit me hard, very hard. And I also gathered that in the whole quarantine center, I was the only person who was positive. So that's another surprise as well.
He was then admitted to hospital, specifically Jomo Kenyatta University Hospital, where his woes continued.
The staff were very scared. They put me in a room, put a tape around it, and didn't give me any food or drink, and just left me there for about 2 days. So my wife had to keep calling, asking them whether they could give me food, whether they could attend to me. But I don't remember any attention being given to me. And that's where I lost some money, about $1,000 that I had in my pocket, and that was taken away. And I have no idea when and who took it.
He was then transferred to Aga Khan University Hospital, where his health deteriorated to a point where his memory of his stay there is faint.
So I spent the first 16 days in ICU, and I have no idea what happened to me. But I am told that as soon as I got there, they put me on the mechanical ventilator, the machine, and my body suffered very badly. My organs failed, my liver, my lungs, my kidneys, all failed, and the doctors had to work really hard to keep me alive while I was there during that particular time in ICU.
And in indeed, his life was saved. He was declared COVID-19 negative and was discharged from hospital on Wednesday. His return home has come with a lot of change to the household.
The family has set aside a special room for me, so I'm not really interacting very closely with the family yet. I am undergoing a physiotherapy as well. My limbs are still not very strong. I still can't walk very far. And so all that will need to continue for the next few months to ensure that I'm fully recovered.
The bishop says that he does not know how or when he contracted the disease. The 55-year-old says he has no underlying conditions that would have aggravated his struggle with COVID-19. But he has some adapting to do with the new normal.
I always use the rails. It's a sort of automatic thing that happens to me. And there's a lot of rails that I touched in the UK. So it's possible I got it from one of those rails.
Being a man of the cloth, Bishop Wambunya is torn between his desire for communal worship and his fear of the contagion. And having battled the disease himself, it is not just another viewpoint.
We can do the hand washing, provide the equipment for that. We can wear our masks, but the distance is going to be a challenge. I think something can be worked out, but it still remains a very, very dangerous situation, bringing so many people together, and the likelihood of being infected or increasing the infection is very high. But I wish a way was found to reopen churches.
We leave Bishop Timothy Wambunya to recover. His hope is that he will get better and back to the pulpit. His message for now is that COVID is real and that Kenyans ought to take care of themselves so that they do not suffer as he has. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Well, it's good to see the bishop feeling better, though his early experiences in quarantine are most definitely unfortunate. Motor vehicle importers have lost an upwards of 2.5 billion shillings in the last 6 years to Kenya's inspection agent based in Japan due to overpricing. In a letter seen by NTV, the Kenya Bureau of Standards accuses the sole agent Quality Inspection Services, Japan, the company mandated to inspect and verify the conditions of the motor vehicles prior to export, of hedging the dollar rate to a fixed amount without basis and depriving exporters the benefit of currency without consulting KEBS. At the same time, the monopoly of that company and the pricing concerns are now a subject of court discourse after an individual asked the court to stop them from exploiting importers any further. Ken Mijungu with those details.
Every year, Kenya receives between 75,000 and 80,000 motor vehicles from Japan, which accounts for nearly 95% of all motor vehicle imports. Inspection fees are paid to the exporter at the time of purchase to facilitate a government requirement that the vehicle must meet some minimum standards before they are allowed in, such as the age of the vehicles. The exporter then engages the Kenya Bureau of Standards sole agent in Japan to verify this requirement before issuing a quality inspection certificate, and to protect the end user from exploitation, KEBS prescribed a minimum of US dollars 155, which translates to about 15,500 shillings per car for inspection. This, however, has not been the case. The sole agent of KEBS, Quality Inspection Service Japan, better known as QISJ, which has been operating for about 6 years, monopolizing the Japanese market, has been charging 4,000 shillings more. This is why KEBS, after several complaints, wrote a letter to QISJ seeking explanation as to why the company has been, quote, hedging the dollar rate to a fixed amount without basis, thereby depriving exporters the benefit of currency fluctuation without consulting KEBS and the exporter. QISJ fixed the inspection rate at about 19,000 shillings when they won the first contract 6 years ago, and for 3 years they were collecting more money than they prescribed. When the contract expired and was subsequently renewed, they continued to charge 4,000 shillings more, disregarding the KEBS prescribed rate. The standards body now wants an explanation as to how they exploited Kenyans to the tune of 2.5 billion shillings in this period. At the same time, one Judge Odhiambo has gone to court to challenge, among other things, QISJ's monopoly of the Japanese market. Odhiambo accuses the QISJ of violating and continuing to violate the consumer rights of importers, exporters and Kenyans by overcharging and causing the overcharging of by creating a monopoly. He also wants them to be stopped from what he terms as violation of the constitutional rights. Ken Mijungu, NTV.
Busia Governor Sospeter Ojamong will now stand trial in a 8 million shillings fraud case. This is after the Anti-Corruption Court Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti ruled that the evidence adduced by prosecution was sufficient to proceed to trial. Ojamong, together with 6 members of the county's executive committee and a business lady, are facing charges of conspiracy to defraud Busia County 8 million shillings. The money was meant for waste management. Former Kasarani Member of Parliament John Njoroge has been fined 1.3 million shillings, or he will face a 1-year jail term after being found guilty of receiving a bribe from a contractor in 2013. Senior Principal Magistrate Lawrence Mogambi ruled that the prosecution proved its case beyond reasonable doubt that Njoroge had indeed received a bribe of 100,000 shillings from Abdurrahman Mohammed. Njoroge is accused of demanding the money to facilitate payment of 3 million shillings from the Constituency Development Fund after the contractor won a tender of 11 million shillings for the construction of roads within Kasarani constituency. Time now to grab a glass of water, but we'll be back before you know it.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night. What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
All day, we expect our mouth to do all kinds of things. That is why it needs all-round protection. New Oral-B Pro Health toothpaste. Its advanced technology helps prevent both tooth holes and gum problems that can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your teeth, giving them all-round protection. Because your mouth is doing more than you think. New Oral-B Pro Health. All-round protection for your whole mouth.
Hi guys,
we
are the Moriahs.
We are an ordinary couple
going through ordinary challenges.
Kila mtu akiwa na shida, you take your paper, you write down your problem,
tunaiweka hapa. Trust me, hizi zangu ni kama 2 hapa, the rest ni zake.
Pump sends you to this guy, manzi.
Hizo t-shirt zinanikatia, to be honest.
Tafadhali ujoreza yaje. Mimi sijaongea uogi.
Shawa, tuko seria shawa.
Mwanaume anaingia kwa kitanda jasho.
Glad to have you back on NTV Weekend Edition. Up to 88% of Kenyans could test positive for the COVID-19 virus, by January 2021. And that is according to the Kavi Institute of Clinical Research. This was revealed when the Kenya Medical Association appeared before the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on COVID-19. During the meeting, the association cautioned against the easing of movement in the country or lifting any measures put in place to contain the spread of the disease. The doctors say that without sufficient data to support the easing of restrictions, the situation could easily take a turn for the worst. Anita Nkonge has more.
When the Kenya Medical Association appeared before the Ad Hoc Senate Committee on COVID-19, it did not mince its words.
We now recommend any decision on enhancing or easing movement restrictions must be based on evidence, which evidence entails doing sufficient testing in order to understand the spread of the disease in the country.
According to the association, Kenya must first ensure that the rate of infections declines for 2 weeks consecutively before considering easing of any restrictions.
A national network for contact tracing, quarantine, and isolation that is free of coercion and encourages people to cooperate should they meet the criteria for this. There should be adequate bed space for clinical management of cases in identified facilities covering the whole country. And as we indicated before, this can even be regional treatment facilities that cover several counties at a go.
In their submission, CAM also recommended that regulations be put in place to allow for home-based quarantine and isolation where possible. According to the director of Kavi Institute of Clinical Research, up to 88% of Kenya's population could test positive for COVID-19 by January 2021. This is following a study done by a team of researchers and modelers at the University of Nairobi.
Part of what we have actually been doing is to critically look at this outbreak. We managed to put together case management that was looking at how cases are going to be managed. We advised on isolation and quarantine actually done by the ministry. And then we also looked at various projections in the country and projections, which the peak will be 2021 around January. We might actually have 2 million people infected, will be mild to asymptomatic. Those infected and moderate average about 300,000. Those infected and severe will average about 100,000.
The country has been on a dusk to dawn curfew for the past 2 months. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
Kenyans who supplied items to the National Youth Service and are yet to receive their dues should expect to start receiving them from September. Public Works Cabinet Secretary Margaret Kobia says the government is currently verifying payment claims with the intent of clearing all pending bills, even as legitimate deals continue being revealed. This happened even as the NYS revealed that they have manufactured over 1.7 million masks meant for the public amid the pandemic. Lilian Kiarie with more.
Long-standing debt claims prompted by misappropriations of funds has long defined the National Youth Service, a tag that the service has been fighting hard to rid itself of. A few days shy of the end of the 2019-2020 financial year, when the government was supposed to have cleared 6 billion shillings in pending bills, it is now in an apparent rush to clear the first batch of payments.
Treasury has given money, 6 billion, so that the payment can start as soon as today or Monday because of the weekend.
Suppliers excluded from the first payment can now heave a sigh of relief, but the ghosts of the corruption at the service still haunts it down to the books.
So long as we can establish, this intelligence committee can establish that goods were ordered, that is point number 1. 2, goods were received. If we can get that in documentation and verification, then we can now go further and verify if we can pay this 8 billion.
Kobia says the Intergovernmental Committee has already started verification of payments and is to be completed in 3 months, after which payments are to start.
The list of those to be paid 8 billion, it needs to go on the website so that anybody who is owed any money and by National Youth Service can go to the website and find out where it stages my bill.
But as the ghost busting goes on, so does work at the service, more so in light of the pandemic. 250 servicemen and women have been deployed to produce face masks.
So far we have made 1.7. We have dispersed 1.3 million. So in the stores we have about 400,000, sorry.
I'm wearing one of the masks produced at this production area here at the NYS headquarters in Ruaraka. They tell us that one of these goes for about 55 shillings and tell us that they have a plan of producing about 2 million of these masks. Lillian Kierie, NTV.
Well, had I known, I would have asked Lillian Kierie to come back with a few for me. Now, nearly 2,000 vulnerable families in Nyeri and Nakuru counties have received food baskets from the Diamond Trust Bank. This comes as a great and welcome relief as they cope with the loss of income during the pandemic. Bridget Ngana reports.
The new normal has brought with it pain, but also relief for many, as more well-wishers live out the call to be their brothers and sisters' keepers as the COVID-19 pandemic bites. In Subukia, Nakuru County, 800 households received food packages from the Diamond Trust Bank.
Hata pesa kwa kupata hata kununua sabuni ni shida kwa sababu tulikuwa tunategemea kibarua. Hiyo kibarua sasa hakuna kwa sababu tulikuwa nafanya subati ni tulisimamishwa, na nimeshukuru sana kwa ile kampuni imekuja kutusaidia kwa usaidizi wa chakula.
We are here today to support the people of Subukia, to give them foodstuffs and just be there with them in solidarity, especially at this time of the pandemic, the COVID-19, and to ensure that we give our hand and share the little that we can. DTB believes in being with the people during good times and difficult times.
And I would just like to appeal to the corporates the world over, wherever they are in Kenya, just give that little bit more, because the people we are helping, after all, depending on what you do, these are our customers, and eventually after the post-COVID, we'll still need them even to continue with our businesses. So I'm very happy that Diamond Trust has been able to do this, and we are very, very grateful.
In Kieni West, Nyeri County, 1,000 needy and vulnerable households got some reprieve after Diamond Trust Bank came bearing goodies dedicated to cushion these homes from the loss of income due to the restrictions brought about by the coronavirus war.
Hii ni Kenyan Bank. We want to work with the people. We want to celebrate when we are having good things. We want to work with the people when we are having COVID and ensure that at no time will you look and not find Diamond Trust Bank.
The foods drive is being carried out in different parts of the country and has since covered the coast, central and central rift regions. Families in Trans Nzoia County are next in line. DTB has since contributed 100 million shillings to the National Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus. Bridget Ngana, NTV.
Nyambura Kamau. In the report on the National Youth Service by Lillian Kierie, we erroneously referred to Margaret Kobia as the Cabinet Secretary for Public Works. It is actually the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs. Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi and his Forward Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula now face the prospect of being left out of the power deal President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga are likely to reach if the two do not play ball. According to Coty Secretary General Francis Atwoli, who hosted political leaders from the Western region, the two are flip-flopping on their political future, and if they do not join the course, they could be left behind. NTV's senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Buredi with more.
Current talk of a new political dispensation in the country has jolted different political groupings into action. At Cotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli's Kajiado home, a section of loyal leaders met to plan how they could share in the cake that has President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader as the holders of the knife. For 3 hours, Politicians, including governors, senators, members of the National Assembly, and former politicians from the Western region, deliberated on the way forward for the community and how they could find space in the new relationship.
I think this is the first time we have realized almost every constituency in West Kenya represented.
The absence of Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya Party leader Moses Wetangula did not escape the minds of those in attendance as they faulted the move. According to the MPs, the two want to play Lone Ranger politics, and this, they argue, could backfire.
They were not part of this meeting, they didn't attend, but they are with us.
Mudavadi spent the afternoon meeting former MPs Martha Karua, Peter Kenneth, and former head of civil service Sally Kosgei. Wetangula, on his part, tweeted that he was engaged in matters that would lead to the unlocking of the transport crisis at the Malaba border, and to him, it was more important than the political meeting at Atwoli's home.
No, handshake is for two people. That's what we are saying. Musalia and Wetangula are not part of a handshake.
The Kajiado meeting also resolved to forge ahead without the two, as they now seek to have more representation in government.
Hawa viongozi wakienda kule kunegotiate on our behalf, tunataka zile appointments ambazo rais ana make katika serikali yake. Appointment iwe ya cabinet, iwe ya parastatal na mashirika mbalimbali. Jamii yetu ya Western Region tunaomba kwamba iwe included.
Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has been bestowed the honors of making decisions on behalf of the region, and next week he is expected to lead a delegation to meet President Uhuru Kenyatta with a list of demands.
Kuna viongozi ambao tumechagua waende watuwakilishe kwa hizo negotiations. Hao viongozi wanaongozwa na Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, CS Eugene Wamalwa, baba yetu Francis Atwoli na Speaker Ken Lusaka.
The caucus also resolved to meet periodically to review gains it has made in the quest to have more space in government.
Umoja wetu ni umoja ambao unaenda kufanya kwamba tuende tuongee na wale viongozi wa handshake. That is Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
Another of the meeting's resolutions is that Atwoli should reach out to Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, as majority of those who attended this meeting believe that their political direction is wrong. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Kajiado County.
What are your views on Luhya Unity? The handle is at NTV Kenya. The hashtag is NTV Weekend Edition. Much more coming up after this break.
Welcome to the conferencing service.
Emma! Carry on, Ken.
First quarter sales, they are up 90%.
Very good. Very good.
We are looking at a 55 billion shilling profit by the end of the financial year.
Now we are talking. Yeah, we talk billions. Very good. I gotta go. Wacha niendelee na kazi.
A person has left the conference.
Niko nyumbani. Downloads are very fast. Streaming, e-com. And I'm just working from here. Stay connected and work from the convenience of wherever you are. Fiber to the home.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
The Kenya Film Commission, in line with its mandate and function of promoting development of local content and establishing a film fund, has established a film empowerment program that will provide film and video-related funding. The Commission announces the funding application for the 2019-2020 financial year. Individuals, companies, and organizations will be required to submit funding applications to the Commission. The submissions kicked off on the 28th of April and will run through to the 9th of June 2020. To register, visit www.kenyafilmcommission.com. Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya. Capture Africa.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
This is Weekend Edition with Olive Burrows.
Time to to take a look at what's happening in business. Inflation for the month of May 2020 eased slightly to 5.47% from 5.62% last month. The downward pressure on inflation was brought about in part by the decrease in prices of food items such as avocado, whose prices dipped by 4.5%, Irish potato prices dipping by 3.58%, and tomatoes by 3%. However, food prices went up by 10.55% compared to a similar period last year. In the month of May, the collective prices of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels increased marginally by 0.84%. Traders at Sokomjinga have been left high and dry following the closure of the famous market located along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway due to concerns over the spread of COVID-19. The market is a key source of income for many of the residents of Lari, some who do booming business by selling their produce to travelers on the highway. The county government of Kiambu will supervise the disinfection of the market, which lies between the border of Kiambu and Nyandarua counties.
Some 5 people were confirmed to be positive, but that is from the Kiambu side. But given that we are sharing that market, on our side we have not had any case, but we have taken the measures because it's just administratively that you can say one side is in Kiambu County, one side is here. But in terms of usage of the market, it's like both the traders from Nyandarua County and Kiambu use it's like the same market.
Micro, small and medium enterprises are set to benefit from the scheme by the Cooperative Bank of Kenya that will see them receive up to 95% financing on the purchase of a motor vehicle. This follows a move by the bank to renew their special motor vehicle purchase schemes between the bank and motor vehicle dealers. Isuzu East Africa Limited and Simba Corporation Group, the small businesses also set to be given 2 months to use the vehicles before they begin repaying the loan. In addition, customers can apply for a 500,000 shillings working capital facility to support their businesses, especially during this difficult COVID-19 season. The tourism industry has received a major blow in this pandemic season. The thousands of jobs to be lost as well as the facilities to be shut down paint a picture of the grim reality. The government has appointed a task force to guide on the recovery of the sector, as Kevin Mutai now reports.
The parade of parked vehicles, which would ideally be touring parks and other tourist attraction sites. But this is a season that is far from ideal. If this Toyota Land Cruiser could speak, it would tell of how the new normal is a highly unusual, as it has traversed close to 1 million kilometers cruising in the parks, according to Monica Solanki, the director of Lofty Tours and Travels. We find her at her home just within Mombasa's central business district. Her once thriving tour company is now suffering from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. She is now down to 0 active clients.
There were some which were booked in July, they've changed to October, and now they're telling me they're not sure if they will come or not. At the same time, we had paid some deposits to some hotels and we are not getting the refunds. And here the clients are asking us to refund the money for their own personal reasons, which I can't lose my clients, so I have to struggle now to pay back the refunds, and I don't know what will happen to the deposits.
Coldip Tours is also feeling more than just the coastal hit. The pandemic has made things hotter, and in this time of tough circumstances and choices, the farm's owner says he is almost giving up on the industry.
Tuko madereva kama 35-40 wote wametumwa nyumbani unpaid leave, na hatujajua hii maneno itakuwa vipi na itaishia vipi.
Hakuna mgeni hata Mwafrika, hakuna mahali yuko. Hakuna mtu anasafiri, hakuna mtu anaenda excursion.
The coast relies heavily on corporate clients, sending their staff and sending people on incentives. But also those corporates have suffered. So we are even wary of how much local business will come through.
The pandemic has brought the hospitality sector to its knees. Many have closed their businesses as thousands of employees in the country have lost their jobs.
Globally, is almost 120 million people are going to lose their jobs. So we are down in tourism almost 80 to 90%, and that's global tourism. In Kenya, we are as good as shut at the moment because there's no hotels that are open.
You will find that most hotels have tried to cater for their staff, so they have not fired them. But people have gone on unpaid leaves because really, where are the hotels who are all operating on 0% getting the monies to pay for the staff?
According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, the international tourist arrivals is expected to shrink by 30% globally compared to 2019 figures, which translates to a loss of $450 billion, which at the current exchange rate is 48 trillion Kenya shillings. A lot of this is contributed to by countries, including Kenya, which imposed travel restrictions both on land and in the air. And in a move to revive the sector, President Uhuru Kenyatta has allocated 6 billion shillings to the industry as a stimulus package. 2 billion shillings is to be channeled through the Tourism Finance Corporation as soft loans to support hotel renovations. 1 billion shillings will be allocated to conservancies. The rest will be used in promoting marketing through the Kenya Tourism Board, supporting the Utalii College and providing support to the Kenya Wildlife Service to engage over 5,000 community scouts for a period of 1 year.
So we need to invest in those beach hotels by giving them loans, long-term loans, single-digit interest rate that will be able to make them survive.
We'd like to ask what is the criteria that they're using to judge who and how people get the money. And is it going to be equal distribution and fair distribution, or how is it going to be divided again?
The Kenya Coast Tourism Association says that in 2019, the tourism industry pumped over 160 billion shillings to the exchequer, predicting a decline of 60% in 2020. Now, the sector is heavily banking on domestic tourism soon as the government reopens the economy.
Siku zimekaribia ambapo sasa watu waanze kujiandaa, ikifika tarehe hiyo ya kusema tumefungua nchi, basi wawe tayari kuanza kazi mara moja.
Those are the people who are going to start bringing in business. They are going to be very choosy to which particular facility they go to. So all the budgets for any of the establishments are going to be ruined. You know, whatever you had planned, you throw it out and come up with a new budget, because we are going to get far less now than we had planned for.
I've just gazetted a task force of the sector to come with protocols. We have protocols from the restaurants and bars and the accommodation. We need protocols from airlines, airports, adventure tourism. So all sectors, we need protocols so that we have one integrated protocol, that the minute the clients want to do the booking, then they know the rules before even they do the bookings. So then they are compliant with the requirement of health, and then they'll be able to enjoy their vacation as well.
Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
In the domestic market.
That's it for the business news. It leads us to a break, but more news coming your way after that.
All you have to do is come up with a nice idea, develop it into a nice story, and not just any story, but a story that showcases the ideals, beauty, and diversity of Kenya. Get your mobile phone and shoot a short film and stand a chance to win up to Kenya shillings 500,000 worth of prizes. To participate, you need to be a Kenyan citizen, have a smartphone that can shoot video in HD, be between the ages of 18 to 35 years old, shoot a film not longer than 5 minutes. The film should be in English, but if you must use any other language, please use subtitles in your film.
Can you tell Kinyanjui to come to my office immediately? Good morning. Good morning. Mimi sipendi unapanguza floor. Hiyo dust uache hapa kwa meza. Clean up. Kinyanjui, this is a problem, eh? Next time uende ununue selector yako, utengeneze sandwich zako, uachane na sandwich za boss.
Selector. The difference is in the taste.
Hii uende weke kwa ile githeri yako eh?
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
The Kenya Film Commission, in partnership with Techno Mobile, CDI Gadgets, Documentary and Reality TV, has rolled out the 3rd edition of the Mobile Phone Film Competition. It is a competition for short films shot using exclusively mobile phones.
To participate, you need to be a Kenyan citizen, have a smartphone that can shoot video in HD, be between the ages of 18 to 35 years old, shoot a film not longer than 5 minutes. The film should be in English, but if you must use any other language, please use subtitles in your film.
Kenya Association of Manufacturers is celebrating 60 years since its existence. It was set up as a business membership organization that represents the manufacturing sector in Kenya.
And it was actually the initiative of the Ministry of Energy.
We've invested in a wastewater treatment plant, which now reduces our municipal water intake by 70%.
Consider energy to be very crucial for socio-economic development of the country.
Over the 15 years we have held the Energy Management Awards, we have realized a saving of 15 billion. Manufacturers have been able to save and put in some of that money into better production.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. And now for that segment many of you wait all week for. Many a person would be rogue if he knew how, so the saying goes. It seems, though, that many Kenyan politicians have discovered that elusive how and have come to accept that given the choice between integrity and survival, they would choose the latter. Many are eating humble pie as their past deeds and speeches return to haunt them. And as Emmanuel Juma reports on Bullseye, it's time for politicians to learn a new lesson. Always keep your words soft and sweet, just in case you have to eat them.
The good times. Millie was mingling freely, and she could just easily have taken on anything and anybody anytime.
I want to tell them, or we want to tell them, bring it on, baby, bring it on.
And bring it on he did. Someone had armed Rungu with a really lethal Rungu, and he was putting it to use.
We must be allowed to give confidence and to withdraw confidence to those who don't follow the party lines.
He had brought it on for Millie, and how would she respond?
Senator Omanga Millicent.
I vote yes.
So, Millie, what was all that bring it on baby business?
When I say we, sometimes is,
You're referring to yourself.
Went, yes?
Is it to yourself?
Yeah, because I think I can't remember. I think when we were talking at the boardroom there, I think they say that's how they get it. Anyway, that's the
confusing political times, and she's not alone.
This job of being a chief whip is very challenging.
Even he with the big rungu now has walked a different path before.
Sisi ambao ni wafuasi wa Jubilee tunaambia Bwana Raila Odinga hata kama ameingia pande yetu tunamwangalia kabisa, kwani tunajua kwamba sisi tunamfuata William Ruto. Mimi uhusiano wangu na Mheshimiwa His Excellency Deputy President of the Republic ni wa dhati zaidi.
And he could even have sworn to that.
Hata kukitokea hii mambo inatokea, haki ya Mungu mimi pana vitu siwezi sahau. Siwezi sahau ya kwamba tulitoka na wewe kutoka huko pande za Maragwa, tukapitia hapa, tukaenda kule Mogoi. Nilikuwa nimetangaza Deputy President aje afungue maji.
And today,
it's very challenging, my brothers.
How about Kindiki?
Ask my shoes, uliza kiatu.
It's been a long and agonizing walk for Kithure, if the shoes can be believed. And yes, he has also had his moments.
A number of people who are elected on Jubilee tickets have decided to openly rebel against the party. And I want to tell them I think we've been too accommodating. But there is a limit to which that accommodation can go. There is no way somebody can openly defy the head of state, the deputy head of state, on whose ticket they were elected, and still continue to enjoy the privileges of our political support.
Well. How about when the shoe is on the other foot?
Victory over darkness comes to the victors in installments, but punishment for perpetuating the works of darkness is meted out on the conspirators in one lump sum.
I dare ask, Kendeke Kindiki, Luya for what's up, Kindiki?
They wrongly diagonized that I could be manipulated.
Then we had this man, all ready for battle after going against the party leader's orders.
Boss, nafunza watu wajue sheria.
Easy, Ledama, easy. Who is the bad guy now?
It's something that baffles me. It completely baffles me. Because I have a lot of respect for Raila Amolo Odinga. You know? And it is now about time for me to say that he is the one fighting me.
Then he was summoned. And boy, it was all smiles and total show of obedience. That must have been a hair-raising experience for the Narok senator. How heavy was that?
No, the track is 10 tons.
What now, Lekina?
Party loyalty versus meritocracy are two very different things.
Don't laugh, Your Excellency. But seriously, what's going on?
In politics, it is very easy to make friends even with the people you don't know. But it's also very easy to make enemies. That is why always the enemies of yesterday are always friends of today. And the friends of yesterday always become enemies of today. Why? Because you are not looking for friendship, you are looking for interests.
Emmanuel Juma, Bullseye, NTV.
Bring it on, baby, bring it on, when your words come back to haunt you. Now, as we move away from that hair-raising bullseye, we now take a look at what is happening on the international scene and the intolerance that was witnessed with the arrest and subsequent death in police custody of a 46-year-old American, George Floyd, continues. A correspondent for CNN, Omar Jimenez, was on Friday arrested live on television while covering the violent protests that have been witnessed in Minneapolis in response to Floyd's death. In another act of intolerance, this time in Denver, Colorado, a protester was deliberately run over while demonstrating Floyd's death.
Got him down, man. Let him breathe, Lisa. Man, I can't breathe.
Words that literally sparked a flame in Minneapolis and protests across the United States. George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, died while in police custody on Monday.
Mama! Get up! Get in the car!
And a video that depicts the tragic circumstances of his death have led to riots that have seen even a police station burnt down.
Okay. Do you mind telling me why I'm under arrest, sir?
And it was these events that CNN correspondent Omar Jimenez was covering when he was arrested by Minneapolis police on Friday. While still live on television, Jimenez can be heard identifying himself to the officers and offering to move out of their way. He was nevertheless arrested with no audible explanation as to what crime he had committed. And in another act of apparent intolerance, a protester was run over in Denver, Colorado. The protester had jumped off the hood of a vehicle and was walking away when the driver turned to follow him and hit him in a manner that seemed intentional. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has been faulted for adding fuel to the fire by tweeting that he was willing to deploy the military to shoot protesters.
How tragic. The police officer who was seen kneeling in that video on George Floyd's neck has been charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter of the unarmed 46-year-old. That is according to prosecutors who are pursuing the case against the officer who was sacked following Floyd's death. Now it's time to take a break, and Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has come to be known for a number of phrases in this time of COVID-19, one of which is if you continue to behave normally, this disease will treat us abnormally. Well then, he made another utterance that has provided some comic relief.
Anybody can get it.
Himero on the beat.
Anybody can get it. You can get it. I can get it. Anybody can get it. You can get it. I can get it. Anybody can get it. You can get it. I can get it. Anybody can get it. You can get it. I can get it.
The Kenya Film Commission, in line with its mandate and function of promoting development of local content and establishing a film fund, has established a film empowerment program that will provide film and video-related funding. Individuals, companies and organizations will be required to submit funding applications to the Commission. To register, visit www.kenyafilmcommission.com.
What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Optiven Limited, the pay-saters in real estate.
Shop online and pay with your Visa card securely for groceries and other essentials, e-learning subscriptions, online entertainment subscriptions, as well as all other bills online. With Visa, you can make payments online using your Visa card in 3 easy steps. Simply go to the checkout page, select Visa card, enter your card information, and your purchase is securely completed. Safe is smart. Visa, everywhere you want to be. Terms and conditions apply.
Change your baby's diaper often and as soon as possible after bowel movements. Gently clean the area with mild soap and water or baby wipes. Have a clean diaper. Use diaper ointment to prevent diaper burn, diaper wipes, or a container of warm water and a clean washcloth or cotton balls.
Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids. No rashes. Kiss Kids. No rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Bye diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Hi guys,
we
are the Mariahs.
We are an ordinary couple
going through ordinary challenges.
Kila mtu ana shida, you take your paper, you write down your problem,
tunaiweka hapa. Trust me, hizi zangu ni kama mbili hapa, the rest ni zake.
Pump sends you to this guy manzi.
Hizo t-shirts zinanikatia to be honest.
Tafadhali ujoreza yaje. Mimi sijaongea uogi.
Shawa, tukoselia shawa.
Mwanaume anaingia kwa kitanda, jasho.
The trend getting all set up ahead of the show after the news. But time now for sports. And Jamaican Shellyanne Fraser-Price, nicknamed the Pocket Rocket, stormed onto the athletic scene 12 years ago, and she has cemented herself as arguably the greatest female sprinter of all time. Saturday will see Kenya and Jamaica connect on a common love for athletics as the world's fastest woman talks exclusively to Ida Waringa about her future plans, family life and more from Kingston, Jamaica on NTV Sport at 9:45 p.m.
She's the world champion once again.
Do you have a favorite Kenyan athlete?
Yeah, so I do. I cheer for Kenyans, I do cheer and he's my friend. His energy is just everything. I'm so biased. I want him to win.
A little birdie somewhere said that you're an Arsenal fan. Is that true?
Can't you tell?
I'm sure all Arsenal fans will be tuning into that interview. Still on athletics, and the scourge of doping continues to be a dark cloud hanging over Kenya, with Mikel Mutai and Japheth Kipkorir, the latest to be sanctioned by Athletes Integrity Unit. Mutai has been handed a 4-year ban after being found guilty of having tested positive for a prohibited substance. Mutai's suspension starts in March, and his results dating back to December 2019 will be nullified. On the other hand, Kipkorir has gotten a provisional suspension for doping offences. The Boston Marathon has been cancelled for the first time in its 124-year history due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The cancellation has ended a run that has persisted through 2 world wars, a volcanic eruption, and even the Spanish flu pandemic. The race, which had already been postponed from April the 20th to September 14th, will now be replaced by a virtual event. Lawrence Cherono won the 2019 men's race. And finally, 2-time Olympic 800 meters champion and world record holder David Rudisha has urged Kenyans to pray for his quick recovery from an ankle surgery. Rudisha spoke to Daily Nation on phone from his hospital bed in Eldoret. A freak accident at his Kilgoris home led to the fractured ankle. Rudisha, who dazzled during the London Olympics 8 years ago on his way to a gold medal and a world record, has been sidelined by a streak of injuries since then. The Football Kenya Federation may opt to give a financial boost to the country's women footballers and match officials from the Confederation of African Football COVID-19 Relief Fund. Speaking to NTV Sport, FKF CEO Barry Otieno stated that FKF is awaiting a letter from CAF, which may come with terms and conditions on how to share the grant distributed to 54 member associations. According to Otieno, the 20 million shillings would be shared out on a need basis, with priority given to football stakeholders who are yet to get help. Already, KPL and NSL footballers have received tokens of support. CAF's grant totals 1.1 billion shillings and comes barely a month after FIFA released 50 million to each member association to help mitigate the COVID-19 impact. The new normal in the international football scene continues to unfold, with 2 of Europe's top leagues, that is Spain's La Liga and Italy's Serie A, set to resume, and Germany's Bundesliga already in full swing. All these leagues will be played behind closed doors. Currently, Bayer Leverkusen is playing away to Freiburg, chasing a UEFA Champions League spot. Leverkusen will be seeking to bounce back after a 4-1 humiliation at home to Wolfsburg on Tuesday night. This as Freiburg, who have an eye on a Europa League slot, seek to move up from the 8th on the log. On Saturday, NTV will air the match between Hertha Berlin and Augsburg. I hope I said that right, at 4:30 p.m. with analysis ahead of the action. Top flight football in Italy closer to the real deal. That's it for NTV Weekend Edition. Flora Atieno has been our sign language interpreter. I had a DJ somewhere here in studio when we came back from the sports break. So that is DJ E. So he will be on the trend together with Mina immediately after this.
This is NTV.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
More spice.
This week on NTV Jammed Up.
It's gonna be a vibe. It's gonna be a killer. It's gonna be a party. I'll be having a guest in studio all the way from Jamaica, and I'm talking about Gentleman.
Blessed love Kenya. I'm very excited. This Saturday I'm gonna be live on NTV Jammed Up.
Apia, I'll be taking all your requests, playing them right here on your living room. I'll see you. We are working from home kama kawa.
The hashtag is JammedOnKE.
Stay safe, sanitize.
See you then.
Blessed love. Looking forward to it. Oh, back, baby.
Superior, your devil complex inferior.
Ninakungoja Yesu, ninakungoja.